Oh,
Okie dokie. How's it going, everybody?
hello.
Hetman, I'm echoing through your thing.
Oh, yeah. Hello, what about now?
How about now? Okay, excellent. That worked. Good. Good, great, excellent. How are we all tonight?
We're doing good. What about you?
Oh, I am. Well, actually, we have something to take care of first. Like about a week ago, a particularly repulsive streamer by the name of FoodShops slandered one of our community members rather egregiously. And it rather upset them, and because I was the one who originally...
Is it just a regular connection problem or no?
Yeah, the internet just fucked off because... Are we back yet? Finally. Jesus Christ. I'm so fucking pissed at the Homeowners Association.
It's a condos association?
It's a homeowners association. I could have fiber internet if they weren't being absolute asses. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yeah, I thought, okay. Now we're back, right?
We're back. Anyway, I need to redo all of that. Now I'm really pissed. So about a week ago, a streamer called FoodShops put out a pretty egregious statement about one of our community members, who's a very active and participant of a number of communities online, Lisa. And let's be perfectly frank, Lisa's wonderful. Shout out to Lisa. However, FoodShops is not wonderful. FoodShops is a depraved individual for reasons that everyone already knows about in most cases. She has no charisma. She has no intellect. She's uninteresting. She puts out hour-long videos that are basically filled with nothing but trash. FoodShops should just delete her account and be gone and stop irritating people. The only thing she has going for her is she respects the grind, and that's not really sufficient enough to be an effective commentator. So yeah, I promised some users that I would bring that up and mention it when next time we streamed, and now we've done that.
What kind of abuse was going on?
Oh, she implied that this individual was not capable of making their own decisions, and that they were donating to streamers under duress. So, you know, unacceptable behavior. Yeah. I know I never said that, you would not to watch any streamers, but honestly, if you're spending your time watching FoodShops, you could be doing anything more interesting with your day, such as, you know, kicking yourself in the balls would probably be more productive. With that, we are going to have some fun today and watch Whatifalthist's Coming Incel Revolution video, which was taken down originally due to a copyright claim from a dead guy, which is kind of funny. He then did a whole 6-minute and 30-second screed where he states that he doesn't understand copyright law, but that's not terribly interesting. But with that, I think we should get into the video unless you got anything you want to say, Hetman.
I am just waiting for Sveta to come back. She's just making herself a cocktail.
Fair enough.
It won't take long.
We'll give her a minute or so for that then. We also have a special guest today. Yeah. You can see her big thing down at the bottom that I just made really quick. Sveta, a close friend and associate of Hetman, is here today to experience her first Whatifalthist video, I believe. Is that it correct?
We wanted a female perspective because, you know, for a video like this, it's only fair to have that.
Because frankly, I've been making plenty of sex jokes to advertise this video over the last couple of days.
I'm actually looking at Whatifalthist right now, and he looks about as like how I would imagine him actually to look like, you know, whenever I watched his videos. I never saw a picture of him before.
Guys, we've had him on our thumbnails before. This thumbnail I've used is pretty old. Whatifalthist picture. It's also perfect for this stream. I swear to God, it's quite excellent. Remember, it's like I said, the Chad move, everyone, is to learn to accept rejection like an adult. Before we get into this, the virgin move is to become a terrorist. Don't become terrorists. Speaking of which, how many people want to bet?
If you don't become a terrorist, you can become a very successful YouTuber like Whatifalthist, promoting terrible
exactly.
ideas. The fact that he is very successful astounds me, and it makes me actually want to, I don't know.
Become more successful?
It makes me want to become more successful. I'd love to have, Whatifalthist excuse domestic terrorism? Yes, he will. I think that you and I should challenge him to a debate sometime.
He won't take it.
See if he'd accept it.
He won't accept it.
You told me that he tried. He tried to be in a panel and he actually left.
He got overrun by another disturbing character named Vosh. It's a long story. Anyway, we have people here. We have Sveta here. Let's fire this sucker up.
I like working on YouTube. You guys have genuinely been good employers, contractors, and this is just absolutely ridiculous. Hope you guys enjoy the video.
I'm echoing again.
Is one of the most...
Hetman, figure out how to make me not echo. Either put headphones in and put one ear in, something.
Oh, hold on. If I put on headphones, then Sveta's not going to be able to hear it.
Yes. Okay. Do you have regular earbuds?
We can share.
Yes,
earbuds.
You can. There are two earbuds.
You
have 2 ears. There you go.
Okay, hold on.
Okay. I think he's in a bad mood.
Right. Yeah, she's getting them. Hold on.
Okie We'll hold on a hot second again. That's Los Angeles, isn't it? Yes, that's Los Angeles.
It's foggy enough to be Los Angeles, or smoggy.
Well, the freeway looks familiarly Los Angeles to me, that section of freeway. Destiny was celebrating the intelligence of Whatifalthist. Destiny isn't that intelligent himself. Let's be honest. Like, he's still dancing around an obscure Latin phrase, pretending like he won a debate with Norman Finkelstein and Rabini, where he just looked like a fucking clown.
Hold on one moment.
Hey, Lisa. If you weren't here 5 minutes ago, you missed the thing I said I'd do. Don't worry, we'll be putting up it as a short in a couple days.
I don't know how to activate these things.
Activate what? You plug them into the headphone jack.
There aren't. These are wireless.
They're probably Bluetooth enabled then.
Show me how to activate the Bluetooth.
Do you not have Bluetooth?
Bluetooth.
I don't know how to do things. I'm not a Mac. I apologize.
It's
us.
Okay.
Hold on.
Could have had this set up earlier.
Oh wait, here we go. Bluetooth. Yeah. Bluetooth. Up smart TV. Obviously not that.
Well, I think the problem incels has if they has an innate inability to get things going. Because if they did have an ability to get things going, they wouldn't be incels.
Very funny.
Let's see. What else is going on today while we wait for technical difficulties to resolve themselves? I'm making steaks tonight again for dinner. It's going to be fantastic. I made a little marinade, some garlic powder, some onion powder, some lime and orange zest, salt, pepper. It's going to be fantastic. Oh,
Oh,
this
they
is a
weren't charged.
folder.
That's why your computer's not.
Okay.
Come on, let's see it.
He was echoing because of the Whatifalthist thing playing in our background.
Yeah.
Oh,
Are the headphones secure? Are we ready to go? May we continue?
They're just give this one moment. They're charging. So you're making a steak?
Yes, I'm firing up the grill. It's going to be a fun time.
Sounds very amazing. I had a decent steak at a restaurant yesterday. It's probably not going to be as good as yours.
I made a steak sandwich yesterday out of a steak that we had defrosted that I didn't know was in the fridge. I set up a Reddit account in like 2010. Haven't logged on to it ever since.
I do not use Reddit.
No, there's not a whole lot of point. Although Reddit does do its best every day, sending me push notifications on my phone that I just ignore.
Guys, I'm sorry this is taking a while. It'll be well worth it once we
You don't have
once the video plays.
you don't have headphones that are normal, like headphones,
Like wired ones?
Yes.
I do, but I don't have them with me. I have my gaming headphones that I usually use. And unfortunately, those can't be stretched to...
Well, they can once. How long are we waiting for this to happen?
They are charging, I think, right now.
Here, I want to send you an
Hold
Amazon
on, let me
link.
see if I can even, like, is there a way I can mute Whatifalthist and then still hear you?
You can mute the thing, but you wouldn't hear it.
Copy that. All right.
I'm going to send you an Amazon link of something you should buy. It's like $10. It's a pack of like 10 cheap headphones that are actually pretty good. And then you can just have them, and it's not an issue.
Oh, try to mute my mic until I speak. Horacio
Yes.
Kafka had a good idea.
Good idea. Do that.
All right. We are good. Okay, hold on. Where's my mic? Here we go. Okay, wait. I am officially turning it off. And should I just...
Turn it back on when you guys want to speak, and I will stop the thing.
All right, sounds good. We figured out a solution. Yeah. We are very brilliant men. We just found it out after a while.
in the kitchen. Why didn't he just move?
You know what would be even more brilliant?
Oh, you're so smart.
Preparing ahead of time.
Okay, let's...
Unusual.
You have, wait, you have a better idea? Go do the whatever you're doing, do it now.
It's been done.
Okay, here we go.
It's taboo in all of society. Most people won't discuss it or even think about it since they don't want to deal with the immense social shaming that comes from it. As a person who studies history, you tend to see that we're incredibly ruthless to previous eras of history. That being said, every era of history thinks they're in the right, and they always do something wrong in a major way. Thus, it goes without saying that we're doing the same thing since every society does so. The human mind projects, and thus a society which hates its ancestors really hates itself. That being said, someone needs to discuss the elephant in the room. As my father said growing up to me, if no one in the room is doing the right thing, that makes it your duty. I sincerely believe that the issues in modern dating are so horrible that they will cause a revolution in the next few years. For people new to my channel, that may sound insane, but I believe it unironically.
Okay, we gotta say something.
Go ahead.
He just revealed his whole, all the problems that he has in his life. I mean, he didn't even bother to mask it with that.
Well, I think it's one of those things we've been talking about for a while whenever we look at a Whatifalthist video.
I know, but like, you know, you can sense that in the other videos, but he just blatantly said it.
Well, he does. He says
that he
it
is
outright.
not successful in the dating life. I mean, would you interpret it that way, Sveti?
Yeah, I mean, I can see how you would interpret it that way. And he also, yeah, I mean, it sounds
It's already
personal.
stupid, too.
It sounds so personal. And we already were kind of trying not to laugh from his whole, as a person who studies history.
Yeah, the whole statement in and of itself is pretty stupid. But the problem, I think, is more personal for him. He is very... I'm echoing on your end again. He is very... whenever you get those headphones, fire them up and let me know. Yeah, like...
There's some people above... Go ahead.
Relationships have always been complicated. There's a very wild difference now that's not caused. Like I'll be interested to see what he says the cause is, right? Because I have thoughts there that are probably a little bit less inflammatory. I'm gonna make us smaller and kind of space us out around the perimeter of the video.
Sounds good.
There we go.
By the way, there's two people fighting above in the apartment above us. That might have been the echo.
Fair enough. I am going to fire the video back up now.
Videos talking about why I believe America, and I would say the Western world in general, is on the verge of what I've called at different points a civil war, revolution, or right-wing backlash. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to tease out the different threads which can explain a unique historic event which we'll only fully understand once it's occurred, as I believe it will. The purpose of this video is to tease out...
Wait, you can't understand events before they happen? No, you don't say!
Want to say anything to that, Sveti?
We disagree.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens here. This is going to be stupid.
What I've said before is the biggest crisis of our time, in my opinion, and the most important variable driving this revolution.
The biggest crisis, if you think
the biggest crisis of his time is him not getting laid?
Yes,
it's
apparently.
It's not global warming. No. It's not climate change. It's this plain white guy's personal problem.
Yes. Like, what? I can't. No. Oh. Not Russia, not Iran, not Israel. The biggest crisis of our time is Whatifalthist can't get a date. Perspective, people. Right. Perspective. You got to have the right perspective on things. And if we could just fix everything, if we could find someone to bite the bullet and date Rudyard.
The young male dating crisis. Why are we waiting?
Also, he's probably got a freaking sponsorship in this.
The world is a dangerous and hostile place, and always has been, and Delete Me helps you deal with the hostile world of the internet. So click the link and keep your data safe.
Ooh, good timing on my part.
Part 1. The Taboo Topic. People are not rational. From studies, we've found that 90% of the population just rationalizes whatever their emotional state is. Thus, when you're seeing someone say something...
Wait a second. People are not rational, but they rationalize their emotion. What do you think rational is? Like, is he possessed of the concept?
So I think he is really imagining a world where we have a completely rational way of making decisions, right? And don't need to then look back on the results and rationalize them. I think that's the distinction in his mind.
Yeah, but it's not a real you'll see a lot of red pill weirdos do this kind of thing. Like Myron Gaines in his recent drama, whatever the hell that I haven't been paying that much attention to. He's like, yeah, I'm just passionate. I'm not emotional. Like, excuse me, sir. Passion is an emotion. Here's a
Yeah.
thing, just generally for everyone to sort of get behind. Logic is not the be-all, end-all. You are not a logical being. No one is a logical being. You are a mixture of your emotions and logic, and you are going to come at things and rationalize them afterwards, and that's okay. That's how the world works. Do not get lost in this trap where you think that you have to be quote-unquote logical all the time. It's not going to happen.
By the way, even if you say you devote yourself to some sort of method, it's just so unlikely to be sustainable. This cannot be a goal in anyone's life.
Well, I think not to be too nerdy, but I think Star Trek is doing a really good job of it was heavy-handed in the past, but it's doing a really good job with Strange New Worlds and Spock. Kind of highlighting this dichotomy of the inability to be completely logical at a given time, and like accepting emotion overwhelming you, and that kind of concept. That's
all right. That's what we are, right? We aren't artificial intelligence. We're natural intelligence. We're animals. There really is no reason to be trying to be something, to be trying to basically become a robot. If your goal is to be always logical and rational, you're not going to have one genuine relationship. You're not going to have one genuine exchange at that point.
That gets into it. Like, if you appear to be like, people like people who like things. They like people who have passion, who enjoy things. It makes you interesting, and that's, I think, a big part of the thing that people don't realize. People like people who are people who they can relate to. You can't relate to somebody if they don't present anything of themselves, which I think part of the idea of the facts don't care about your feelings argument is that it's a way to try to insulate yourself from the reality of the situation. It's very easy to present yourself, I'm very purely logical, this is the world, how it works, blah, 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 blah. But then you're just an irritating little shit. Which I think describes Ben Shapiro perfectly, referencing back into that. Yeah. All right, let's fire this back up, because I know you guys got to get things before the kids return.
In most cases, it's just a rationalization of what's inside their self-interest to believe. This is obviously true for the left.
Okay, let's check for spelling mistakes. The argument for gender relativism. There are cultural stereotypes around gender that makes them a cultural construct. Cultural constructs are things we invented. Thus, since we invented it, we can change it at will. Thus, reality doesn't really... What? Where do you get that? There are, if you want to make that argument, there are a number of premises that have to come between we can trade.
This is not a person who's ever had a philosophy 101 where you're taught how to construct an argument.
This is what we've been talking about. How he's a person who literally went to junior college, might have taken a semester of a history class, and then decided he's a historian. And made this YouTube channel. I mean, this is kind of like
he made this YouTube channel in high school, and he flunked out of college because he was unwilling to believe that he's wrong. Where does this actually reference human biology? I don't know, dude. You wrote the fucking card. Or studies of how genders operate. You wrote the card, so if the thing doesn't reference human biology, that's your problem.
Also, why is there a comma there?
Yeah,
that should be a semicolon at best, or a period.
Or honestly, even if you took it out, that would be a long sentence, but it would be more correct.
Yes.
This person is just like constantly revealing that.
Look,
there's really no foundation.
Look, I'm just going to lay it out for everybody. You are instantly much more attractive if you know how to properly use a semicolon. Semicolons are hot. Let's carry
in
on.
general today, which is philosophically literally said that logical consistency is white male oppression, and whoever is in power gets to determine what's true. In general, a good way to determine if someone is actually making an argument or rationalizing is based on if they use supporting evidence in their claim.
No, it's based on if they're breathing. Like supporting, like you can use supporting evidence to construct a rationalization. It doesn't have to be good evidence. Like evidence doesn't have to be true. Facts don't have to be true. They just have to not be opinions.
Right. Also, what did he say? Philosophically, literally?
Philosophically, literally, yeah.
Yes. I quit.
What is that? Is that like a thing the kids are saying that I don't know?
Well, as soon as we see your kids
He is
start
10.
to say it, then we'll know.
He is about 10 years younger than us, I think. He's in his early 20s. Like, to be fair, he is basically going through the shit for brains period of his life very publicly.
Yeah.
When I was in my early 20s, I graduated with honors from Michigan and graduated with my master's from Chicago and moved to DC. And
When I was in my 20s, I graduated with my bachelor's from a relatively unknown university, then did a bunch of summer programs, Harvard Summer School Language programs, Middlebury, IU, and I did a semester at large at U Chicago, and then I finally got into my
and that is not
master's
how we met,
program.
by the way.
That is not how we met, yeah. way different timing there, but yeah, I started my master's in my mid-20s or late 20s, or forget, like 26, I think. So,
sure.
Yeah, I mean,
I did a lot of cool stuff like learning military tactics and teaching those things and blah, 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 blah. But I also was kind of an asshole at that time, too. And if I had been an asshole...
I was too. I was
that's
too.
what I'm kind of getting at.
For the record, I was not.
Yeah, we all.
Halo for football. But you get my point.
I think it's a white male thing, right?
Well, yeah, you have to come into the world and
I mean,
experience.
I'm not gonna lie. When I was in Whatifalthist position, there was a time where I was like kind of stupidly misogynistic because I wasn't doing well. I think a lot of that is testosterone, but if you kind of keep going with that, if you let that take over you, you're just not going to be a happy or remotely successful person, except for, this guy somehow all the cards and stars lined up for him to have a very successful YouTube channel.
Well, he may have a good business mind.
It's not the business mind. It's the fact that there's so many people like him, and he found a niche where...
Yes, I believe that's a part of having a good business mind.
I guess.
If you
Have you ever watched Shark Tank?
Yeah.
If you wanted to really nail down, a lot of his early videos are like really standard alt history fare for people who aren't good historians. Like, what if Nazi Germany won, or what if the Confederacy won? Those kinds of topics that people love to watch, even if
what
they're
if
silly.
he never happened? Are we?
No, we're not muted. She said, "What if Turkey never happened?" But I don't know if we can say that.
Okay.
Well,
cut it out if you will.
We can say that Turkey could not exist.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm not.
If Turkey did not exist,
if Turkey did not exist, Greater Albania would be a huge country. That was for
exactly
the memes.
Like several countries would just be bigger. Is what would be happening. This is I want to be very clear. This is not anything about Turkey now, right? This is an alt history. What if?
Yes. What if? What if we continued the video?
If they don't actually have an argument against you, they don't follow a causal chain of logic or have blatant inconsistencies in their argument. We've found through studies where John Haidt is
thinkers who's informed by worldview. I assume that means my worldview the most. The happiness hypothesis is criminally underrated IMO. I didn't look at his source list. He puts a list of sources, but it's like a shelf on his bookshelf every time. I can't believe he actually reads these things. Yeah, height is not really a useful thinker in a lot of context. Hasn't Sunday talked about height extensively?
The greatest expert on this topic, and I believe him to be one of the best thinkers of our time, has done a tremendous amount of research on human nature, and everything I've said in the previous paragraph is from his work. He's also found that it's very hard to be rational about things which affect us personally. We tend to be decently good at analyzing the reality of problems of which we don't have a personal stake, but once you get closer, people can become intensely biased as their thoughts and
I am disturbed that he needed a book to figure that out.
That's what I was just going to say. It's like, yeah, no shit.
Like, why do people seek out advice on topics that involve them? Because they need an outside perspective. That's quite literally part of being a human being and having friends. Like, oh, I have screwed the pooch. I need to seek out a friend's help to figure out how I fix it.
words become excuses for their self-interest. As a tangent, one of the things which annoys me is that people appeal to authenticity, or this emotionally feels right, thus it's moral and good, as if emotions are an arbiter.
That's literally this entire video, by the way. But let's carry on.
Of underlying goodness or truth. That being said,
to clarify, I like emotions, and I think it's incredibly important to be in tune with them and understand them. That being said, if they become the final arbiter, life will fall apart due to their irrationality and contradictory nature. Emotions aren't irrational. Okay, we need to get this guy a therapist. Nor are emotions contradictory.
your emotions are a mammal brain manifestation of your genetic self-interest. Your emotions are a lower resolution, more primal version of logic, which involves getting what you want. You'll find that people who are guided by their emotions are.
An example of selflessness is donating to a popular charity without checking if it actually helps anyone and posting it on social media. Alternately, having the correct political views which indirectly benefits your faction but appears virtuous. These both exist as forms of virtue signaling inside your social network. Okay.
Intensely selfish, confusingly often being selfless as a form of selfishness as a way for emotional stability or to look better socially. The reason I'm going through all of this is that this is the topic our society is capable of handling the least rationally. I'll see most people just break down into complete emotion about this subject. People very quickly lose their ability to be objective. I believe this is true, as mating is probably the most important thing in human life. Thus we get very wrapped up in it.
Wow.
It's the most important thing in
Wow.
the life of all living organisms, arguably. But
Arguably, actually less so for humans than
other animals.
Most other animals, right?
Yeah.
So not a great point there. Plenty of us, increasingly, especially as society allows, right, are choosing to be childless. So yeah, kind of have some doubts about that one just being an axiom.
That's also like not an overall system or an overall trend, right? So the population is still growing. Global population is still growing. We here in the United States, here in Europe, are,
as I said, as society allows.
Yes, we are doing
exactly in the places where you would expect for it to be more allowed is where people are choosing to be childless much more.
Yeah, but I have a feeling that he's not going to recognize this. Like he is
not going to recognize that. He's not. From everything I'm seeing, I am not familiar with this person as much as you are, but from everything I'm seeing, this is not a person who's very nuanced in his thinking. I think that would be a way to put it. I'm gonna let Hetman comment on that as someone who's more familiar.
I mean, he's not nuanced at all. He's pretty blatant about his opinions. He also kind of makes word sandwiches. Like he says a lot. He's very verbose, but he doesn't really he talks a lot is what I'm saying. He talks a lot. He's very verbose, but he doesn't say anything a lot of times.
All right, let's fire this
You
off.
will probably have a lot of emotions watching this video, and that's normal. But you need to take a deep breath.
Oh, God. One of the worst intellectual pitfalls people fall into is they're not actually saying what they're saying. This is a dog whistle for something far worse. Wait, what? This does happen in the real world, but establishes a precedent for just making stuff up and incredible straw manning. I'm not sure that's actually a viable sentence. Ironically,
this is not.
No, it proves what I just said.
Interesting distinction being made here.
This proves what I just said. He's extremely verbose, but he says he says nothing.
Okay.
Think about what I'm actually saying, not what it seems like I'm saying, and whether or not it's true. Whenever anyone brings up this topic, they get immediately called an incel. First of all, as you'll get to later, this is a terrible argument.
We've removed any rules from discourse in our society, as opposed to before when there were ironclad rules about how you had discourse. What? Huh? Relational
Making
warfare.
Stuff up, false allegations, spreading rumors, straw manning, magical thinking, not following causal logic, and like 30 other things. And like 30 other things, he puts. You can't even list one.
Like 30. Also,
I would love this guy.
Can I just point out
to make a book, to make a monograph.
Incorrect? Can I just point out that that's also grammatically incorrect?
I know, and that's
30 should be spelled out.
Yes.
I mean that specific thing. I haven't even looked at the rest of the paragraph, to be honest. But I'm looking at the edit now, and I'm seeing the 30. And
I'm not even like
you are supposed to spell that out as a word and not put a 30 unless you're like.
I'm not even going to debate semantics here. I'm literally like I want him to write a monograph just so I can read it and laugh and like he needs to. I'm gonna like pose as one of his fans just
Can we point out that you've been talking about how successful this person is, right? So there are lots and lots of people who are watching this willingly and don't have a problem with the things that we are recognizing as problems.
I know.
That's just something to keep in mind. I think that's interesting here.
It is, yeah.
I like this.
Let's keep going.
I love this next sentence. It's a form of verbal piracy. How does one perform piracy on words? I want the monograph to be about that.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding?
Am I kidding you?
What are you going to say?
No, this person.
I want the monograph to be all about verbal piracy. I want him to write the definitive work on verbal piracy.
Wait. This person's never heard of plagiarism then.
Yes, apparently. I
don't know what to say beyond that.
I've stolen your words. What? How? Like, you're fucking Ariel in The Little Mermaid and you can't talk anymore because Rudyard has stolen all the words.
You will get lots of booty today.
Yahar, Rudy.
On any single level. If you said this in a debate in a sane society, you'd get laughed out of the room. A further irony is I get this a lot.
I can't disagree with you, Rudyard. If you said the things you said in a debate, you'd be laughed out of the room.
Whenever I talk about this topic. You people know nothing about my personal life, and if you did, you would realize it's absolutely insane to say this about me. People use this photo of me from high school to mock me, but I also used to look like this when I was in better shape, and now I look like this. Well, I've been on keto for over a month to get into better shape now. There is a barrier between YouTubers and their audience for obvious reasons, which means you guys really know very little about me. I know me doing this here is incredibly petty, but the thing is, I'm responsible.
Yeah, but you know what? We're going to continue to use that photo of you because it's fucking funny. Slander someone, but it's not socially acceptable to retort. Well, it is. It's called, you can slander someone and then you take them to court. And by the way, using that photo of you is not slander. Nor is it defamation. acceptable for them to retort and prove you wrong. No, it is acceptable. You just have to prove it in a court. That's kind of the point of laws.
This is like him really coming out personally. Like, you know, this video is him expressing his emotions like way more so than in the other ones. And it's kind of like, I feel like, I don't know, a cry for help maybe.
What he does is, and in all his videos, like this has been an underlying theme in a lot of his videos, is he complains about his inability to get a date, but he tries to reference it as a greater social problem. So it's not his problem then, it's society's problem.
Exactly. That's what this movement has allowed this person and the like all these incels who are little copies of him all over the country to do, right?
Yes.
All over the country, all over Canada as well, I suppose, right? That's where I think we got the whole incel thing. So, but yeah, this is a movement that's allowing these people to do this, to project their personal problem and their personal insecurity onto society as if this is a structural issue, a systemic issue. Well, we actually have systemic issues that these people never care to talk about. But that's besides the point, isn't it?
Yes.
Right? Like if you're so concerned about societal issues and other people, just, you know, you'd think you'd care a little more about other issues as well that are affecting people in addition to the plight of the incel.
You know, the whole movement and like a person like Whatifalthist, they're so self-absorbed. And I don't know if that, I mean, I think he probably has, you know, other underlying pathologies, but like, you know, he's so self-absorbed that, you know, if he's able to actually give a shit about anything other than himself, he might actually be able to not be an incel.
Well, maybe. We'll see. We've only got to 12 minutes. We're moving at the typical pace for Whatifalthist video.
To something even more petty, and I need to debunk this line of argument since otherwise it will clog up the entire discourse around this video. If you're a decent person watching this, I apologize. A lot of people think I'm some nerd dwelling in my parents' basement, but this channel is actually a pretty complex business that I make decent money off, where this is my full-time job. I have a team which works for me, I live in my own house, I make over 6 figures a year, I drive an Audi, and I'm 6'4" tall. I have a large social network, have founded 8 different social clubs.
Oh my god. I have founded 8 different social, this is adorable. This is adorable.
He's 6'4", Jesus.
Coming from a grown man. Okay, he's proven to us that he's not a loser, and he's not saying all these things and making all these generalizations just because he's a loser. That's the point, right?
Yes.
He knows attractive people who
I want to point out
to be in his company. Yes.
He's literally wearing a fucking fedora.
Yeah, and he's definitely the least attractive person in that photo. I also would wonder if that really is like a typical day in his life, right? Like as he's trying to imply with the 8 social clubs.
Yes, but hang on, I want to see how this finishes.
Including one for professional influencers at one point. I'm pretty satisfied with my romantic options right now, and I'm just not an incel. Again, I apologize for the egregious bragging, but if I don't do this, this video will just devolve into people calling me a loser without a real argument.
Well, we have a real argument, but we're also going to call you a loser. I don't know what to tell you, son.
It doesn't even really matter if he does somehow get laid. I kind of doubt it. I mean,
I don't think I've ever
he's
heard
still
anyone.
A loser. There's plenty of losers that, you know, have a huge body count with women. That, you know, being successful in that way is not really like a measure of success to me.
Well, look
I
at
know plenty of people that.
Look at what he said. He's not like I am in a relationship He's not saying I'm in a really happy relationship, blah, 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 blah. He's saying I'm very happy with my romantic options. I would love to know if these options are aware that he considers them options.
Very true, very true.
I think we have a guess about that. Yeah, this is not a romantically satisfied person, right? And the fact that he's going to all these lengths to prove that he is, of course, it's like, obviously, Shakespeare said it best. This is trying so hard to show that he's not an incel, and it's adorable and sad at the same time. It's my perspective. I don't know if that's helpful to you, but
yeah.
This poor guy. This poor guy, but also asshole.
It's that basic rule. If you have to talk about how cool you are, you're probably not cool.
I mean, he protests too much.
All right, let's go.
The reason I care about this topic is that as a young man, I see this issue hurting my people in a horrible way. I care about my fellow young men, and as you'll see later in this video, the whole society. I know hundreds of young men, and almost to a man, they complain about this issue being completely unbearable. I'm generally satisfied with my life now, and I made the choice that now that my needs are met, I want to help my people and community with their issues. Furthermore, I don't think people realize how insane...
Okay.
That's interesting.
I mean, now he's just revealed his whole circle.
My people and community.
People and community, yeah. He's revealed his circle.
Mediocre white guys?
Mediocre white guys. If we're, you know what? If we're being, if we're being generous, yes.
How about just mediocre men?
Where my mind went was incel community.
Fair.
Yeah, that's where.
Line of argument is you care about a social issue which affects part of the population, thus you're a loser. It's the equivalent of how in the Middle Ages, if you said the peasants were starving, the society would tell you that you're poor and shameful for that. It also betrays a complete lack of empathy.
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
That's not what happened, but okay. that like, first of all, never mind, just carry on.
Or an inability to have any curiosity about someone else's issue. In fact, this line of argument just proves the incels right that society doesn't care about them at all, and that they're an oppressor.
To wit, we have done a very extensive video where we talked about relationships and concept of men, relationships. You can go watch it on the channel. It's uploaded. Sans the incident that we don't talk about. No one mentioned the incident. Yes,
incident.
that
right.
incident.
Right.
But
I appreciate everyone's maturity.
We've talked about this issue pretty extensively in the past. Here on Two Guys Talking History. Again, therapy, dude. Therapy.
Underclass.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize how irrational our society and its thought processes are. I've made multiple videos on this, but the short answer is our society is lost.
The coming psychological Black Death. His thumbnail has Warhammer art on it. There's not going to be a demonic invasion. I don't know what to tell you, dude.
Oh, we saw a movie last night that goes a little bit with this guy's worldview. What did we watch last night?
It was the First Omen.
Oh, yes.
I was trying to be funny that time.
The ability to use causal logic. You just say random stuff and rationalize it later. The thing is, if you discuss these issues and the automatic reply is, you're an incel, that means you just don't care at all about the truth. What this means is relational warfare, or GSR, being gossiping, shaming, or rallying. This is a form of social piracy in which you use social shaming as a way to push your own self-interest. Our culture does this all the time, every day.
Look at the lack of self-awareness here. Oh, you're shaming people. That's literally what you're trying to do to like I can call you an incel and then work around the argument. My automatic reply is irrelevant. You're just stupid.
What all this belies is that we live in a culture in which young men are seen as completely useless. Society doesn't care about your issues and basically actively wants young men to die. Just read between the lines at street interviews of women and men, reading social media comments, seeing what the media are convenient.
I can't.
Here's the problem with street interviews. Like, I don't know if you've ever been subject to one, but these are staged. First of all, second of all, you won't get your clip won't get used if you don't say what they don't want you to say. These interviews are not reflective of actual society.
Yeah.
What do we need? Okay, what do we need men for? A Modest Proposal by E. Jean Carroll. Let's not pretend that that's not referencing a very famous work of satire. Like, come on, dude. One of the most, like, the example of satire is A Modest Proposal by Jonathan Swift. So,
I mean, do we expect this person to know anything like that, though?
Well, yes, he did drop out of college after one semester, so I suppose not.
And that's not, I want to be clear on behalf of all of us, I think, that we're not shaming anyone who dropped out of college or didn't go to college. That's not what we're saying. This person is calling himself a historian, claiming to be here to educate all of us, right? But then making so many obvious mistakes, even grammatically, and showing gaps in knowledge that would make me doubt whether I want to be educated by this person further, right?
I think I'm going to appoint this guy, like he should get full tenure track position at a major Ivy League university.
One of your videos is called
Okay, fine, Cornell.
Yes, one of our videos is called The Dystopia of Elon Musk, which is about the use of language to try to redirect society and change the meaning of words, which is what 1984 is all about, son. Get on my level.
Or even the government says. This is a harsh pill for many to swallow, and most won't believe it even if it's shown to them, but by the end of the video, you'll see why this is true. The other side of this is there's a large community of men who just go, don't worry about these issues, just grind harder, bro, at being successful, bro. They also like to call me a loser for even talking about these issues. This is the social...
That's not why they're calling you a loser.
This guy, like really, he tried to, he's got some really deep-seated issues. You can even sense it in his voice. Like, I mean, he tried really hard to, like, protect himself, you know, with, I have an Audi, I make six figures a year, and I'm really satisfied.
He drives an Audi.
He said he drives an Audi.
The same as owning an Audi.
Well, he says he owns an Audi.
Did he?
But I don't know. I don't remember.
I think he said he drives an Audi.
Yeah, I think he did.
Which is not the same as owning one. I can go out and lease an Audi for a month to say that on a podcast. Also, Audi, really? That was like...
if I had six figures, I'd probably get something different than an Audi. Yeah.
I mean, an Audi is a nice car, but if he was trying to impress us all, you know...
I know people who don't make six figures and drive an Audi.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
I know some little shit like that I went to high school with whose grandpa bought him one, and he didn't make anything. So yeah, it doesn't prove anything to me. But yeah, like you can see him. He's like constructing this wall, saying, "I'm not an incel, but you know, I really care about them." And it's like, yeah, you are. You're an incel.
You are.
Yeah.
This is your community. You said it.
Yeah. Okay.
Equivalent of a foreign country conquering your nation, oppressing its culture, language, and history. And if you bring it up, they'll say, you should just make a bakery and stop complaining to make some money. If this is a social issue which hurts a lot of people, we need to talk about it and deal with it. I want us all to be successful, but that's different from just ignoring the reality of the world. There's also a school of just do blank to date. Just go to church, go to the bar every night, hit on random girls in the street, use certain images in your dating profile.
Let me save you a lot of time. The social rules for dating vary massively on a geographic basis, including inside the United States. Okay. Point 2. Cold approaches largely aren't effective. Wait for a sign like a girl to look at you twice or smile. Uh-oh. Number 2 and number 1 seem to be in conflict. If you're handsome, dating apps can work, but it's basically impossible to get someone wife-worthy. Oh, God. That phrase, Jesus Christ, wife-worthy.
I don't even know how to respond to that one.
Running
this to me is textbook incel. If we had any doubt before this,
running
this
multiple
is amazing, and I'm sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to just point that out.
Yeah.
If I had any doubt about this person before, I already didn't, but like this makes me want to laugh.
I think in our earlier episode about men's health, we did talk about how, modern dating, it's not easy. It is like, it's kind of like we touched upon that issue, but I mean, he's bringing up aspects of it that are extremely irrelevant.
No, this is exactly how I imagine incels to be, like giving advice to each other.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nightclubs aren't worthwhile unless you're super extroverted. You know what makes you more extroverted? Alcohol. That is what makes you more extroverted.
Maybe he's allergic.
I mean, like, and I'll be honest, like coming from my own perspective, when I was younger and like 19 and I was like lifting weights and I hated the world because like I couldn't get a girlfriend, I was like, yeah, nightclubs are stupid. There's just a bunch of, I'm not even going to use the term, but like, there. And then like, as you grow older, you realize, no, it's a fun place, especially if you go to like nightclubs in Europe, just have a few drinks, just go there, dance.
Go in DC, it's actually pretty similar to Europe because there are so many foreign people.
Yeah. Just go in and have fun. Yeah. Like this guy's way too uptight.
You can't sleep around. Like here's the thing that a lot of people say, and it's actually really true, is if you go into situations looking for a relationship, you're probably not going to find one. But if you go into situations looking to have a good time, you're going to be a more authentic version of yourself and people are going to like you. That's the reality.
100%. And that's like, you just kind of got to shut off your mind of that. It's hard. I mean, I was, how many months ago now? 9 months maybe ago, single again, after having like a 6-month relationship. And like, I had a few disappointments during that time during dating, but that's how it is. It just, it's part of the whole thing, you don't usually, especially like if you're using like dating apps, you're not going to find the right person for like a few, tries.
Yeah, I want to kind of bring up that because he's like, oh, if you're handsome, dating apps can work. No, what dating apps are about is volume. Dating apps gamify a process, which is bad for your mental health in a lot of ways, to be perfectly honest, everybody. Dating apps gamify the process of finding a partner. They don't really necessarily want you to either because they want you to keep playing the game. So like dating apps, especially like I've seen this brought up from men, are an issue because you basically you keep firing off idea after idea and you're exposed to this picture after picture after picture, and you might not get 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 200, 1 out of 300 matches, and that's very difficult on your mental health, and it makes you want to continue to do it. And then like you see things like they put limits on how much you could do in a day, and so you buy the thing, and all of that's not good. Like,
it's very clear that if anything, they're incentivized to keep you single, right?
Right.
So and I say this as a person who's had relationships, who's currently in a relationship that started on a dating app. I'm not trying to just reject the entire concept, but let's be clear about this, right? This person doesn't understand, based on what I'm seeing here, any of that. You have to take these things with a grain of salt. You have to consider that what their goals are here, if you are part of how they're making money, right? It's not about just being handsome. Lots of people, we all do this, right? We put the best pictures we have. We don't put the pictures where we look the most awkward. And I mean, I don't know. Based on what this person looks like, I can't imagine that he is not just at least average enough, right? And he says he's tall, whatever, that he wouldn't be able to get people to go on a first date with him,
and then
as long as what came out of his mouth was not turning them on.
Was not all of this. Yeah, and I also think it's worth mentioning that, like, there's a couple things that have changed radically since the introduction of dating sites, like, because they were pretty big late 90s, early 2000s, and kind of like the hot new thing. The first thing I think is really important is, like, the internet has become an omnipresent thing in our lives, which is in a lot of ways certainly can be convenient, but also social media has also become omnipresent. So you have a lot of inaccurate depictions of people's lives in your face all the time.
Yeah.
So
I've known people who have left certain social media platforms because of the unrealistic things that we're constantly seeing on them, right? I even have a cousin who has done that because they've decided that it's not healthy for them to be seeing that every day.
Yeah, and like there's a very serious danger outside of anything Rudyard's saying here. There's a very serious danger of losing perspective in this kind of world where these things are in your face all the time. Which is why I'm very wary of when people talk about things like the metaverse and whatnot. Like, making the internet more omnipresent doesn't seem like a good thing. Like, they're not to be too memey about it, but there is a particular advantage to going outside and touching grass, guys. Go out, do a thing, see real people, catch up with friends, and understand that life is not always what's being presented to you online. Like, this is a very online view of dating. It kind of communicates that you're not really interacting with people in that way at this time.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Let's carry on, because again, we are glacially moving through this thing.
Profile. I know lots of entrepreneurial guys and players. They have tested in some form every single kind of these, and they're generally not that effective. The thing is that a trick like this could work for a small group of men, but then once women catch onto it, it'll stop. It's similar to the stock market or the labor market.
Yes, women are in fact intelligent people with autonomy and remarkable capabilities that you haven't suspected because you keep trying to deperson them. Yes, that is in fact a thing.
Which will adapt itself to any hacks people use to invest. All of these are really just people coping at dealing with a horrible situation in which they're powerless. The reason I have this giant intro is that this is a topic which, whenever it's broached, people just refuse to speak about it rationally and shut down. For women and older people, they treat incels as if they're subhuman vermin, and anyone who speaks up about this is a whining loser. Meanwhile,
yes, because this isn't personal at all. You don't keep relating it back to that same point.
For a large segment of young men, they're being consumed.
Sorry?
I mean, also, that's kind of their view towards women, right?
Yes.
It's so why should anyone look at them, as anything other than what they look at others? I mean, yeah, and also I agree. It's going back to like, oh no, it was you who said it. Yeah, like no, clearly this isn't a personal problem, right?
No, not at all. Not remotely. I'm not getting that vibe at all.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning. Yeah, we were already talking about that at the beginning. And isn't it interesting that we're thinking about it again now with the content that we're looking at?
The term incel was actually originally coined by a lesbian woman, and referred rather did not have the negative connotation that it does. The negative.
No, I believe she later regretted.
Yes.
Being the one to coin the term, or how it took off.
And what has happened for cases like Elliot
Yes.
Rodger and there's that one in Canada with the truck. The name of the individual escapes me at this time. But yeah, like the reason is because it has turned into a position where people have engaged in what are effectively acts of domestic violence over this. One can be perfectly miserable without apps. Some of us wallow in it for much of our lives. Yeah, I was perfectly miserable all by myself before the internet. Yes, he regrets it in the same way that the scientist regrets creating the term alpha for wolves, which is a whole other thing where like the wolves observed in captivity do not behave like they do in the wild, and therefore the concept of the alpha male, which is somewhat related to this, doesn't really exist.
Consumed by so much rage on this issue that they've lost the ability to think rational, or they're being consumed by the powerlessness of the situation and thus cope about solutions that aren't real. If I didn't have this segment, this video would turn into that, and I want to avoid that so it can remain constructive. A large reason that people become so emotional at the incel rhetoric is that it's an emperor's new clothes moment for our society, in which having to acknowledge that this large demographic of young men has been done wrong by our society would force
predicates power upon using bureaucracy to help various social issues. That sentence doesn't work. Through this, they have created a racial and sexual caste system. Oh God. Oh God. Of those who get helped by this system. This is sensitive. This allows continual bureaucratic what? Which is in their self-interest to deal with the underlying issues that can't really be solved by bureaucracies, such as the biological differences between men and women, or this just gets worse, the black ghetto communities. The biological differences between men and women, or the black... Are you saying that there are biological differences that put people into... Oh, God. Thus, having a demographic of young, statistically mostly white, young men... You used young twice. Not being able to mate is an affront to their entire worldview. Mating is the most primal thing in the human condition, and thus acknowledging this would open up the argument that their entire philosophy isn't a reflection of the world, which they know subconsciously, thus it fills them with rage. Yes.
Hold on.
That is, sorry, we were muted. I would argue that that's not even, he's setting this up here, right, to be an undeniable truth, and that is absolutely not an undeniable truth. We touched upon this earlier. This person obviously has an opinion that mating is somehow the first priority, or
it's not. It's eating, drinking, breathing.
Not.
Right.
And he's what's interesting though is he's imposing that, right, on just this is my opinion, but this is now reality, whereas most of us can recognize that our opinion is not necessarily something that just needs to be acknowledged by everyone else.
Yes.
I gotta find his Instagram.
Well, he's making incomplete. He has incomplete information, which he uses to launch into incredibly illogical leaps that he's rationalizing, which is funny in and of itself, because of how he starts this video. And by the way, we still haven't finished the introduction after 17 minutes. And more to the point, like this is like
Sveta suggests maybe we do this video as 2 parts.
We might have to, yes. We've already been going an hour and 20. We might
let's try to get to the middle. We
Yeah.
can at least do that.
Yeah, and then we will reconvene. But like the other part about this is like if I was a man, apart from being a woman and being degraded in such a way and being reduced to a object that satisfies a man, which is in and of itself a problem. If I was a man, I would feel kind of offended. Like I do feel a little offended that I am apparently incapable of looking at the world through any other lens than sexual gratification. Like I am a more complex person than that. So, you know, get fucked, Rudyard.
Force us to come to terms with the lies and ideologies which we use to maintain our right to rule. And thus we attack the incels as a demographic because they force us to realize that our worldview is incorrect. Before we continue, guys should check out my podcast, History 102, which I do on a second channel with Eric Torenberg.
No.
These numbers are incredibly popular, as a can't comprehend how economically bad it is.
Did you
These
actually
numbers
know
are
that?
absolutely horrifying. I think our simply are virgins. 1/3 of men. Before we continue, guys should check.
Did you know of this History 102?
No.
Podcast?
Well, I knew he had set up a podcast. I just can't be bothered.
Can we please do a review video of one of these?
Go pick one and we'll figure it out.
I want to do modern China.
Yeah, Palm Dad, you're absolutely right. There are lots of people without sexual desire. They're called asexual people. They exist. I don't get them, but they exist.
Check out my podcast last year either. Something to the greatest crisis of our time.
Okay. We are at part 2 at 18 minutes in. We have been going for an hour and 30 minutes, and you guys have to do a thing in like an hour, right? Like get kids. Hello?
Yeah, I don't like around 6:30. So
okay. Yeah, 3:30, 4:30, 5:30. Okay. What I say is here is a good a place as any to move on and reconvene for next time.
Okay, so the greatest crisis of our time is what we're gonna.
Yes.
We're waiting for part 2. Okay. The share of men under 30 who report 0 female sexual partners since they turned 18 rose up since, like, you know, that time. Like, who gives a shit? Seriously.
This is a 5. Hang on. This is a 7-year-old chart. Surely there's a more recent chart than this. Okay. With that being said, we're going to call this here because we probably should have started this at 10 o'clock this morning, given how much Whatifalthist leaves to say. I want to thank everybody.
This is by far the best Whatifalthist video that I've been able to comment on. And I knew it was going to be like that, given the subject matter.
Best as in it provides ample commentary opportunity, not best as in this is not quality material. This is not something that I think you will find pontificated on or referenced favorably anywhere else.
No. Be surprised.
I would love to. I'm going to encourage him to make a monograph because I want to review that monograph.
I feel like
want to laugh.
I feel like you as a genocide
I think there's
scholar.
a drinking game in there somewhere.
I feel like you as a genocide scholar.
No. We review. I mean, they were. Daedalus wasn't playing the drinking game, and neither was the other two. Lucy or any of the other two columnists. But yeah, I drank every time in one of the ones that, and I think that's why I said something very stupid and we had to edit it. But
yes.
Yeah, I was having a shot every time he said something really dumb, and I was pretty plastered by the end of that.
Do I even want to know what you said that needed to be edited out?
No, you can't say it on stream.
Obviously.
This is sourced.
Obviously.
It was existential. Let's just say that.
This is the general social survey, so it is sourced, but it is not recent. The other thing I would say is you, as a genocide scholar, have an obligation not to cause crimes against humanity. Like Whatifalthist writing a monograph.
That is a big crime against humanity.
North.
All right. With that, I'm going to go ahead and close this out. I want to thank everybody
Just
for coming
wanted to
out.
point out
Wait. So that has some last words.
Okay, first I just want to point out that I used to work at the establishment that produces the General Social Survey. Also, I mean, it is created by a faculty member from Chicago, but that's not what I'm talking about. But yeah, I just want to close with I think I was here to kind of be the female perspective. I want to be clear that I'm certainly not trying to speak for all females, all people who identify as women. This is my personal, perception of what I'm seeing from this person. If anyone happens to agree, that's great, but also not important. And I will do my best to be at the second part of this. And thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you,
And
everybody.
make a poll, and who wants to see me take a shot every time we hear something. Here, I think it would be like some grammatical error.
I'm gonna private that. If that's the case, I have to private the stream ahead of time. Anyway.
No, that's not gonna happen. Okay.
Anyway, have a good night, everybody.
It's better to be sober for these. Okay.